It's time for Success in Real Estate with Frankie Griffin, owner and broker in charge of the Palmetto Success Team, certified residential specialist, accredited buyer representative, military relocation professional, real estate appraiser, and author of Success in Real Estate. If you are interested in buying or selling a home, investing in real estate, or having your home appraised, you will enjoy Success in Real Estate. Now, here's Frankie Griffin.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, real estate broker in charge and appraiser. Thank you so much for joining us today. Got a great show lined up, I believe, with some really good information. I think especially if you're a homeowner. We're going to look at some numbers here, have the March housing numbers, and they all look very good for the home seller, and I really think if you're thinking about buying a house, buyer, you need to take note with these numbers. But before I even get into this, I need to make somewhat of a public service announcement. And because, we're all about love here at The Point. That's what Kevin Cohen insists we be all about. And so that's what we are. And I got to tell you, I'm very fearful for my friend Brian Leonard this morning.
What's going on?
He is going to crash and be rolling around on this floor any minute.
His chair's fine.
I would like to make a plea for all you wonderful listeners. Somebody surely has a stool they don't need that you could bring by the studio here on Millwood Avenue, because Brian is doing a balancing act up on this high stool, and I've never seen anything like it. I don't know how you're sitting on it.
His chair's fine.
What?
It's fine. It's the pole going down into the footing, so it's being supported. Not very good, but it's being supported.
And it's not supporting you. I'm looking at it. All right, but anyway, so those of you that have any love in your heart, please bring a stool at least by next Friday. I don't know what I'm going to do if he crashes on my watch. So anyway, let's get back to some of these real estate March housing numbers. And if you have any questions, any comments, please give us a call. The number is 799-8255, 799-8255. And here are the numbers for March. Now, again, these are local numbers, but it says listings are up 2.9%, which is not real good. And you're going to see why here in just a second, because inventory shrank in March by a total of 6%. And if we look back or track back over the next 7 months, inventory is actually down 15.7%. Not real good if you're a buyer looking to buy today. And this is sort of going to lead itself into what we're want to talk at least a little bit about today. That means we are rapidly moving into a seller's market. This is something we are a little bit unfamiliar with today. For the last several years, we've been in a buyer's market. Probably over the last year or two, we've actually started getting. We've seen some movement toward a seller's market, and we've sort of been sitting on the fence a little bit. But now I think we are very much running into a seller's market, which is really changing a lot of things up. Got more comments I'm going to make on that here in a second. But pending sales are up 8.7%. Sales prices are up 5.8%. And the days on market is now down 3.4%. In fact, the average days on market right now around the Midlands is about 115 days. So, again, if you're a homeowner and you're thinking about selling, now is an incredible time to do it. Inventories are low. We are, in my opinion, certainly, if we're not already in a seller's market, it is certainly leaning more towards seller than buyer, in my opinion. And maybe if you're a real estate agent and you're listening to this show right now, love to hear your opinion. What do you think? Are we now in a seller's market, or are we still in that buyer's market? Number to call is 799-8255. Again, 799-8255. And I actually put a post on Facebook this morning about not the numbers necessarily, but one thing that I am noticing is buyers and sellers are getting much more testier today than what we've seen in the past with each other. I'm talking about not necessarily with their agent, but with each other. And I've seen that in some deals that I'm currently involved with. I've talked to many other real estate agents, and they're seeing some of the same things. And testy in some cases can be used a little bit too lightly. But I am curious. Why are we seeing this? Why are buyers and sellers more on each other's nerves now than what we've seen in the last few years, certainly? And I'm going to tell you what my opinion is. And I've got, well, actually, let me list some. I actually got some comments on the Facebook page that I posted, and see what you think. But one agent actually thinks that it could have a lot to do with other agents that are antagonizing buyers and sellers. And there's no doubt there could be some of that. Unfortunately, there are some that are a little less professional than others, but you're going to see that in every kind of business. That's just sort of the way it goes. But I think for the most part, we've got some incredibly good, top-notch, professional real estate agents around town. I'm very proud to be working with a lot of them. Another comment by John says a lot of the damage is done by unrealistic expectations created by Houzz and other similar websites. Also antagonistic home inspectors that are, John feels like is not qualified to be doing home inspections apparently. But I do agree, John, on, unfortunately, a lot of times buyers are looking at some of these third-party sites, and sellers also, and getting some unrealistic expectations, especially when they look at these Zestimates of home value on Zillow. Look, there's some good information on these sites, and if you know what's good and what's not, I have to reiterate, we have to have a stool for Brian Leonard. This stool is cracking every time because he has to move around a lot, from the computer to the board, back to the computer to the phone, back to the board, and every move he's going to hit the floor. Before this show is over, he will hit the floor.
He's going to crack up before too long.
Yeah, and if you don't believe, Kevin Cohen posted a picture of it on Facebook. So if you don't believe me, you take a look at that picture. How he's sitting on that thing, I don't even know. It just seems like buyers and sellers are much more testy today with each other than we have seen in the past. And obviously there's got to be something behind it. And I'm kind of looking at some of the comments that I've received from others on Facebook. And another one anyway, Jack says, I need to put my glasses on, I can't even read it. Jack said the usual value one puts on something can be a problem. How can a new house that sells for $75 a foot and an existing home demand $91 a foot? Sounds like, if I understand what Jack's putting here, I can certainly understand what he's saying, where if you can have a new home built at $75 a foot and you've got a older home that's being sold at $91 a foot, how do you justify that? And sometimes you can't, but sometimes you can. It's got a lot to do with amenities. It's got a lot to do with the construction. there are a lot of things that kind of go into that, Jack. But I mean, that's an excellent comment, excellent observation. But you really can't just base value totally on just the square footage or the price per square foot, because there's just a lot of other things that we have to consider and take into account, and sometimes things just don't make sense. There's no question about that. But let me tell you what, or at least get off my chest, why I think we're starting to see this testiness between a lot of buyers and sellers. And it's kind of what we were alluding to in the first segment, where, we've been in a buyer's market for several years, longest buyer's market I've ever dealt with. And buyers have sort of had their way with the sellers, because in the past we've had large inventories and a shortage of buyers. So now the sellers are having to compete very hard against each other, trying to get a buyer to buy their house. The tide has changed. Now the sellers are in much more control. They know it, and buyers are having a hard time changing with the market conditions. Now the sellers are bowing their back more often. They're not giving in to some of the things that buyers are demanding, and it's creating, in some cases, a little bit of a hostile situation. Now let me say too, this, I'm not trying to suggest, before anybody calls up or emails me, I'm not trying to suggest the whole world is against each other and fighting each other. A lot of transactions go through very smoothly, without the problems. It's just, and even the problems we have today, I think, are still a smaller percentage of the overall transactions. But we are seeing more of it right now than we have in the past. That's the only point I'm trying to make. And buyers, I think you need to understand, when you're talking or dealing with sellers, they're going to have the upper hand right now. We looked at these inventory numbers. They are as low as they've been in a long time. So there's a lot more buyers looking for the same houses. Multiple offer situations are becoming a lot more common and frequent today. So it just sort of creates an environment that I think buyers and even agents are not used to right now, especially if it's an agent that's only been in the business, say, 5 or 6 years. Because all you've seen and dealt with is a buyer's market, and it's changing. Now you have an older, more experienced agent that has dealt and worked with buyers and sellers in a seller's market, can sort of keep things a little bit, keep the ropes tight a little bit better, I think, and can control things. And this is where experience does come into play. There's no question about that. But buyers, look, if you're thinking about buying, certainly now's the time, because I'm not seeing it going back to a buyer's market for a while now. I mean, who knows how long we might be in this current market, but it is what it is, and I don't see it getting any better. But what I am seeing, buyers, these home values are going up. Home prices are going up. That's what happens when the inventory shrinks and sales go up. Values are going to go up. So, again, if you're thinking about buying, we'd love to help you with the Palmetto Success Team. We have a team of professionals that are specialized in different areas and can help you in many different ways. And same thing if you're looking to sell your house. And good grief, now is the time to have your house on the market if you're thinking about selling. Love to come talk to you about that. Show you some of the statistics and numbers that support what the market conditions are right now. Maybe you're just be curious to know what your home's value is today. Love to come help you with that. We can do an appraisal real quick, and you'll know exactly what it would be. But now, one thing I do want to just sort of backtrack on a little bit, because of one of the comments I read earlier suggested that a lot of the problems that we see between buyers and sellers are the result of some of the home inspections from some of the home inspectors, alluding that they're not qualified. And we do seem to have some of that, there's no question. But now I got to just tell you, in my opinion, a home inspector is paid, typically by the buyer, to go out and look for issues with the home, and that's what they're going to do. Now, sometimes we as agents look at these home inspections and say, well, that's kind of a nitpicky thing to write up. Well, it is, but you got to put yourself in the home inspector's shoes. If they don't write it up, now they look at being accused of not writing up problems, and the buyer says, well, I paid you to identify the problems, and I'll decide for myself what's nitpicky and what's not. In some cases, the home inspector could leave themselves open to liability by just choosing on their own what's nitpicky and what's not. So I don't think it's all about crucifying the home inspector as much as it is we as agents have to educate our clients on what's nitpicky, what's something we need to have sellers fixed, and what things we need to just leave alone. Because there's no question, y'all, unless you're buying a brand new home, the home inspector is going to be writing stuff up. It's not going to be in mint condition, especially if it's been lived in already. But it's priced in the condition it's currently in. So it's really irritating a lot of times for the seller to price their home in the condition it's in, and then the home inspection is completed. Buyer wants to make the seller fix everything and put it back in mint condition. That's a little bit unrealistic. But on the line, we've got Andy On with On and McKay Law Firm. And how we doing, Brother Andy?
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Oh, it is such a fine day today.
It is a beautiful day outside, and let me just remind you, it's Friday.
Isn't that the truth? Thank you, Lord.
Yeah, we are so excited. We got a lot going on this weekend. My mother and father-in-law celebrated their 50th anniversary, so we're having a little get-together for them tomorrow night. I'm real excited about that, and just a lot going on. Had a great tutoring tour last night. Frankie,
I understand.
Out at a tremendous listing on Catawba Drive, whatever, I think it's Drive, out in the Wheeler Hills subdivision. Jason King was our real estate agent on it, and we talked about home inspections and inspecting the home inspector and talking about liabilities. And it's always amazing to me how much I learn at these different seminars. We had some great agents here last night, some seasoned agents, some brand new agents, all bringing different perspectives, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so I appreciated the opportunity to be there last night and appreciate Jason King letting us use that listing.
Awesome. And by the way, we've got Mary Kaufman is on the
Well, that is superb, because I was getting ready to talk about Mary and Charles and their big grand opening coming up next Thursday. How you doing, Mary?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Mary. Good to hear from you, sweetie.
Good to hear from you. Yeah,
doing great.
Frankie.
Mary, you guys are having your grand opening of your brand new real estate office next Thursday. Is that right?
That is correct. We are very excited about this opportunity. We appreciate everything that, Andy, you do for our business. And, Frankie, we appreciate all the education that you've given us and our agents.
Oh, it's such good training. It's some good stuff right there.
It is. It's good stuff.
Well, Mary, tell us where your location, where the location of your grand opening is going to be. I know a lot of listeners might not be aware of where your office is.
We are located in the heart of Lexington, right beside the main post office. Our address is 120 Ellis Avenue, Suite C, but we're going to take up the whole block next Thursday evening, April 30th, from 5 to 8. We have the town police that are going to be out here to barricade our road, and we'll also have the town police out here to give out goodies to the kids. We've got a DJ. We've got lots of food. We're having a down-home pig picking, and, of course, we'll have great fellowship and great beverages.
I may even get up there and sing, Frankie, if they tip me enough.
Oh my goodness! And everything was sounding good for a little bit.
sounded like a good party till I volunteered my entertainment services, right?
Oh, good. We're gonna put you on the corner of the block.
I hear you. Hey, listen, I could exist with a milk crate. I could probably practice law with a milk crate. Frankie, I wanted to talk to you about an issue that oftentimes comes up, actually, this is an issue that deals really on the seller side.
Mm-hmm.
It deals with tax compliance. If you've got a seller that's selling property and they're selling it as an LLC or a corporate entity, it is so important as a listing agent or as a as an individual owner, like the seller yourself, you got to make sure that you advise the closing attorney's office that this is either the only asset that's owned by the LLC or the corporate entity, or it represents a majority of the assets. Because if it is the only asset, or if it represents a majority of the assets of that LLC, then we've got to get what we call a certificate of tax compliance from the Department of Revenue to ensure that all reports that need to be filed by the LLC have been filed, and that all information that's required to be filed with the Department of Revenue has been filed, or assessments paid, this kind of thing. Usually we do a title search and make a determination if there are any tax liens or anything of record. But a lot of times there are assessments that haven't taken the form of a tax lien yet. So it's so important that if you are a listing agent or a seller that has a piece of property that's held in an LLC, that you make sure that if that is the only asset owned by that LLC and you're selling it, or if it represents a majority of the assets, advise the closing attorney as soon as possible. I get a lot of pushback from sellers for some reason when we ask for this information. Why do you want to know that? Well, it's because it's a condition of title insurance, and if we don't get that information, ferreted out and included as part of the closing package, then it could affect whether or not title insurance actually applies in the event one of those situations comes up. So it's so important.
And this is on investment property, you say?
On any property. On any property that is owned by an LLC. Okay.
Okay.
So it's just it's that important. But I'm really excited about marrying Charles's grand opening next week, and I think did she tell us what time the event's going to start up?
She said, Mary, what time?
It's from 5 to 8.
From 5 to
awesome.
8.
Yep, and that's
there'll
also
be food and drink and everything, right, Mary?
Food, drink, and everything, and also the Lexington Chamber will be here so we can clip the ribbon with the big scissors.
Well, put me down.
That's awesome.
All you got to do is
Mary,
say
how can folks reach you if they need details on how to get there and all that?
They can reach me at my number, which is 803-622-4596, or you can always reach out to Mary at teenkaufman.com.
Awesome. Mary, please tell Charles I said straighten up when you see him.
Hey, that's the first thing I'm going to do.
Let me tell you, that's a 24-hour job there, okay? That's one cat that's about 3 cubes short of a tray. Okay. So.
Oh, good.
All right, we love you guys, Mary. Thank you for including us in this. Appreciate it. Frankie, thanks so much, buddy.
Y'all have a great one.
Thank y'all. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, again, that was Andy Awn with Awn & McKay Law Firm. Does so much for the real estate community, mostly without even charging for it. It's just awesome. Does such a huge training events that he does that is just so invaluable. Because if you don't know Andy, he doesn't just close loans for real estate deals. He's also a trial lawyer. So when he gives you opinions or suggestions from a legal perspective, he knows how it's going to play out in the courtroom. I like that. I like that a lot. And you need to check him out. You can always go to their website, Awn and McKay Law Firm. .com, or actually it's www.awnmckaylaw.com. Or you can just Google Awn and McKay. Do a great job. All right, and I know we had a caller that had a question. I think David, and he couldn't hold on. Apologize for that, David. Hope you'll call back.
Here's Frankie Griffin with your weekly featured property on Success in Real Estate.
All right, good morning again. Welcome back to Success in Real Estate. I'm Frankie Griffin, broker in charge and appraiser. Thank you for listening and joining in this morning. We're having a great time talking about a lot of different things, but we do have a featured property real quick, and then I got a couple phone calls, and I'm going to get to you very quickly. But I did want to read this Facebook post I saw this morning. I thought it was really good. Where there's a couple talking to a real estate agent describing what they're looking for, and says, we want a cozy, secluded 20-acre farm surrounded by hills, trees, and streams within walking distance of shops, restaurants, schools, theaters, and hot night spots. And good luck finding that. But you know what? It's awfully interesting because this featured property almost would meet that requirement. It's not 20 acres, but it is 10 acres with about a 2-acre pond, fully stocked with brim and bass. Very nice. It's about a it's right at 2,600 square foot house, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths. Y'all, each room have its separate bathroom. Very nice. There is a in-ground heated pool with an 800 square foot heated and cooled pool house. Very, very nice. And a 1,500 square foot shop that is also heated and cooled with an office, got its own bathroom. And I didn't mention about the pool house, but there's 2 full bathrooms in the pool house. So very, very nice. Sitting on 10 acres. Beautiful, beautiful property. I think you'll love to see it. Sitting in Lexington, in fact, 2 miles from downtown Lexington. So you go from living in the country, go a couple miles, you're in downtown Lexington. Love to show it to you if you think that's something you'd have interest in. You can certainly give me a call or email me. All my information is on my website. In fact, the house and the property pictures by Jerry Bilton is on my website. Just go to www.frankiegriffin.com. Again, just frankiegriffin.com. Give me a call. We'll set up a time and go look at it if that's something that you've been looking for, because it is a gorgeous property. And so let's go first real quick to the phone lines and talk to David. How you doing, David?
I'm good, Frankie. How are you today, sir?
Oh, this is a great day, and appreciate your patience and hanging on so long.
Absolutely, not a problem. I do apologize. I've only been able to catch a few parts of your segment this morning, so if you've already addressed what I'm about to ask, I apologize if you're repeating anything. I'm actually an in-home move consultant for 2 Men in a Truck, so I deal with buyers and sellers all day, every day, going in and out of homes. And one thing that you brought up that has kind of piqued my interest, that I have customers kind of complain or vent to me about all the time, is this inspection process. Because we're looking at moving them, we've got a whole bunch of contingencies, and they've got dates set up, this, that, and the other, but they always have to wait for the inspection. And I guess my biggest question is this, is why is there not something in the industry that allows for an inspection to take place prior to a contract entering the equation, so that sellers can really, because I know a lot of sellers don't fully know what exactly is wrong with a house until the inspection is done, and buyers want to know as well, so they can have that inspection sheet as a negotiating tool.
Well, you know what, David, that's an excellent point, and one of the things, certainly with us, the Palmetto Success Team, any house we list, we have a pre-home inspection performed. Okay. And that way, so now I know the condition of the property. The seller knows, and will make that available to buyers. And you're right, David. It turns into a significant marketing tool. But there are some sellers say, well, I don't know that I want that. And at the end of the day, if there's a problem, they don't want to know about it. That's what it boils down to. But if you're the seller, you got to understand if there are problems with the house, bad news will not get better with time. So if it's a problem, we need to know about it up front. You don't want to wait till you're locked in under contract with a buyer and then try to negotiate. You've just lost your leverage at that point. So that's why we do everything up front. Get all the inspections done before the house even goes on the market. That way we have more leverage to help the seller still net and accomplish the goals that he has in mind. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Frankie. I appreciate your time, sir.
David, thank you for calling. Have a great day.
You too.
All righty. And the time we've got left, I do want to just bring up a friend of mine that is just incredibly awesome at what he does. In fact, let me just go ahead and say this now. Before you pull the trigger to buy a house and quite frankly even selling a house, because this is dealing typically with the largest investment most people will ever make. A lot of money at stake here. Highly recommend you get some advice on how this can affect you financially. And I always recommend our in-house money coach, Fran Holloran, which happens to be on the phone line. How you doing, Fran?
I'm doing great, Frankie. How are you this morning?
Oh, this is such a fine day today, and what a pleasure to hear the money coach calling in today.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. And actually, I'm enjoying it a little bit more than even you are. I get to play a little bit of hooky today. My fourth child, Riley, is a little under the weather, so I'm playing dad, and so I'm home working today, which isn't all bad.
No,
you know what I mean?
no, you got a good excuse to do something different now.
That's right. Well, Frankie, I know time is of the essence. I want to share with you and with folks who are listening an experience I had with one of your folks, the TerraTech team. Help me here, Dwayne Blanton, is that right?
Yeah,
TerraTech?
Yeah, Dwayne Blanton, TerraTech, sure.
One of the businesses that we own is a small little insurance and investment company, and one of my clients needed some help with a foundation problem, and she'd gotten a couple of quotes from companies that were, just I didn't feel comfortable with it. I really didn't. This wasn't a claim or anything. It was just she needed some help, and I'm her guy. I knew that you had a relationship with TerraTech. We called them. They came out. Dwayne and his team were fantastic, gave her exactly what she needed for a fraction of the cost that the other companies were asking for to fix her problem. And, Bo, I looked like a hero because my little client just was so thankful that I had somebody in my network who could help her. So I wanted to thank you for providing me with his number and their information. And I also wanted to just give a little shout-out.
Well,
these guys at TerraTech, they know their business. They're good at what they do.
Awesome. You don't know how good that makes me feel. Just hearing something I already knew.
Sure.
But it's just good to hear it. And
it is, and we all have teams. We all know people, and it's so nice to know that part of our team is just aces. It always makes me feel great. So I just wanted to share that with you as well today.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you have a great weekend, brother.
You do the same. Take care, buddy.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye.
TerraTech, Dwayne Blanton with TerraTech, they are awesome. And if you're ever having any foundation issues or think you are, at least call them. I think you will be shocked at what they can do for you, along with all our real estate partners. Time is up. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for listening to Success in Real Estate on the Point.